Hello everyone, welcome back, and if you're new here, my name is Victor. In today's video, I'm going to be covering something that apparently a lot of Sprinter vans are susceptible to, and that is leaking of the plastic side panels that go around the van in the body. What can often happen with these is that water gets through, which is absolutely fine because that's how they are, that's their purpose. Water can get in, but the issue with that is because these are clipped into the metal body of the van through these little plastic clips that go into holes in the body of the van, that means that water can actually quite easily get inside of the van, which obviously isn't perfect. You'll have condensation and moisture, and if you've got insulation sorted, then that is not good at all because you might quite easily start getting mold on your walls. Now, the second issue is because the water gets into these side panels, it can get trapped. So if the outlets aren't, maybe they're clogged up, maybe they're just not letting the water out as they're supposed to, then you can quite easily start getting rust building up. With rust, if you can see it and tackle it quite quickly before it spreads, that's all right. You can kind of get rid of it and treat it and it's all good. But the issue is if it happens under the side panels, you're not going to see it until it's too late, and then you have a hole in your van and you've got a big rust spot and you can't treat it. So the first thing I am doing with this is to take these bad boys off and then basically go through, clean it all nice, and then treat any rust spots that already exist, which there is some, and then to go back and seal those clips so that the water can't get inside of the van. It can still go into the panels, which is absolutely fine, but it can't get inside of the van, which is what we don't want.
So of course, the first thing you want to do is to start taking these panels off. The one I started off with is the front one, the small one. And a word of advice, you want to be quite stern with these, and also I would probably advise to actually buy yourself a set of trimming tools. I would say it's probably a requirement. And when you're trying to get rid of these little clips, it's good to just poke these pieces that hold it into place. And now it's time for some chores. I went ahead and cleaned these little clips as well as the side panels from any mud and any gunk that has built up over time. So a little bit of soap, a little bit of water will do the trick. And then just wipe them down, obviously, to dry them before you apply any adhesive and sealant. Now you want to do exactly the same thing with the body of the van. So just give it a good clean, a good scrub with a wet piece of cloth. Wipe any dirt, anything that's built up over time, and just make sure that the surface is clean so that the sealant can stick to it quite well and without any issues. And also, if you see any rust spots now, it's good to obviously treat that ahead of time. Next, you want to apply some sealant. So you can use SCREWFIX. I used a different kind of sealant, but it's all the same purpose. So I just went around the clips once I got them into place and applied a decent enough amount so that when I put it into the side of the body of the van, these are definitely going to be watertight. No water is going to be getting in, and it will also just keep it in place. It will bond it into place. Now, bear in mind when you're working with these side panels, some of them are secured with screws, and also the clips, of course. So here I'm showing you a good way of getting rid of these clips from the body. Some of them will come out as you're pulling out the side panel, and some of them will stay in. So the ones that stay in, you just want to use the trimming tool, squash those two little pieces that hold it in place, and then you will be able to quite easily just pull them out of the body. Another piece of advice is to put these clips back into the panels before you apply any sealant, and also just to make sure that the clips are put in the right way so that when you do put them in the side of the van again, they stay and there's no issues with you having to pull it off and then redo the whole thing. This goes without saying, but don't forget that some of these pieces are held by screws. So just put those back in place as you found them effectively, and that will make sure that all the pieces of the side panels are held in place with the right amount of pressure and that the sealant dries correctly, and you will have no leaks. And of course, Mercedes wouldn't make it all easy for us, so just bear in mind that some of these spaces are quite awkward to get into, so you will need a screwdriver as well as probably a ratchet wrench. and that some of these are actually Phillips ends and some of these are Torx. So just bear that in mind as well. So have all the tools that you need handy. Also, I found that the best way of getting these side panels off is to use the trimming tool to get inside and then just give you some leverage to be able to put your hands under and just pull them off. They do bend quite a bit. I didn't find that any of them distorted or sort of warped because of it, and none of it broke. So if you want to take my example, you can do it that way. Maybe there is a better way to just kind of go through with the tool and just leverage that before putting your hands under and just pulling it out, but this is the way I did it. Some of the side panels have lights, but they are quite easy to unplug. So once you unplug them, you'll be able to just pull the side panel off as normal. So this little back piece is a little bit awkward as it's held into place by a couple of the panels. So the first thing you'd want to do is to go around the back, take off this back side corner with a wrench. So you want to take the screws out and then take that panel off. And once you have that off, you want to get under the wheel arch and take a screw out as well for the side panel to be able to take that one off too. And then that gives you access to the whole back piece. I decided to work on it all at the same time. So treating any rust spots and then just cracking on with sealing it as per usual and putting it back into place.
So as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it was useful. I hope that you picked something up with this video. If you could leave a thumbs up, I would be extremely grateful. If you can subscribe, I'll be even more grateful. And other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Peace and love.